Hey, I'm Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise and BoardGameGeek, and this is November 2019's Top 10 Hottest Games based on the titles that are generating the most traffic and discussion on the BoardGameGeek website over the past 30 days. These games are tracked on the site's hottest games list, and the higher and longer a game remains on that list throughout the course of the month, the higher it ranks on our top 10 overall. 175 different games appeared on the list over the past 30 days, including the game in spot number 10, which makes its first ever appearance on the countdown. Debuting on the countdown this month at number 10 is Maracaibo, a new strategy game for 1 to 4 players by Alexander Pfister, set in the Caribbean during the 17th century. In Maracaibo, players try to increase their influence with 3 nations over the course of 4 rounds. Games typically take around 40 minutes per player, with those players sailing across the Caribbean, encountering various city tiles where goods can be delivered to, and performing various actions. Now, as of the time of this recording, Capstone Games has started shipping its Maracaibo pre-orders to customers and retailers, so if you purchased a copy of this game, keep an eye out for its delivery. And you know what? After it arrives, be sure to share your thoughts on the game in the comments below. Ratcheting down 1 spot to number 9 this month is Brass Birmingham, published by Roxley. Brass Birmingham is an economic strategy game sequel to Martin Wallace's 2007 masterpiece, Brass. This version tells the story of competing entrepreneurs in Birmingham during the Industrial Revolution between the years of 1770 and 1870, for those of you studying for your midterms. But this game also offers a variety of different story arcs and experiences from its predecessor. Birmingham features 3 all-new industry types as well as a new selling system, and features dynamically scoring canals and rails. Plus, instead of each flipped industry tile giving 1 static victory point to all connected canals and rails, many industries provide between 0 and 2 victory points. This provides players with the opportunity to score much higher value canals in the first era, which in turn creates interesting strategies with industry placement. And, as with its predecessor, you must still develop, build, and establish your industries and your network in an effort to exploit low or high market demands. Reclaiming 10 spots to end the month at number 8 is Marvel Champions, the card game by Fantasy Flight Games. Marvel Champions, the card game, invites players to embody iconic heroes from the Marvel Universe as they battle to stop infamous villains from enacting their devious schemes. Being a living card game, Marvel Champions will be supported with regular releases of new cards, including new heroes and scenarios, allowing players to jump into the Marvel Universe, with Iron Man and Black Panther teaming up to stop Rhino from rampaging through the streets of New York, or Captain Marvel and Spider-Man battling Ultron as he threatens global annihilation. Tell me you, yes you right there watching this video with your eyes, do you have what it takes to join the ranks of these legendary heroes and become a champion? Wow. Climbing up 4 spots to make its way onto the top 10 this month is Everdells, a game of tableau building and worker placement by Starling Games. Everdells' performance this month is likely related to its upcoming 2nd and 3rd expansions, Spirecrest and Belfair. Spirecrest takes players beyond the comfortable borders of the Everdells Valley, deep into mysterious and uncharted lands where adventures are waiting to be discovered, because that's where we keep them. Spirecrest adds several new elements to the game, including weather cards that impose challenging limitations to overcome, discovery cards that let players encounter intrepid new critters and locations on their journey, and big critters, which are unique workers with interesting and helpful abilities, who also serve as trusty mounts. Belfair, though, on the other hand, introduces an unprecedented year-long event to commemorate the 100th year since Everdells' founding, hosted by the King. The new game modules that are introduced in this expansion include components and rules for 5 to 6 players, individual player powers and resource boards, a Belfair board with a new market location, Garland Awards, which are shared endgame goals, and new special event cards. Dropping back 1 spot down to number 6 is Terraforming Mars, published by Stronghold Games. In the 2400s, mankind begins to terraform the planet Mars. Giant corporations sponsored by the world government of Earth initiate huge projects to raise the temperature, the oxygen level, and ocean coverage until the planet's environment becomes habitable. Now, the 5th expansion for Terraforming Mars, Turmoil, is right around the corner. This expansion takes players back to Mars and introduces the political struggle for control and progress of human society on a big and dangerous planet. Because if it's one thing that you can always count on humans for, is to disagree on how things should be done. The Turmoil expansion includes new corporations, new projects, and a new type of cards, global events, which give players something new to plan for, from dust storms to riots to rising alloy demands, which makes sense because I just dumped all that alloy, and of course now the demand for it is probably going to skyrocket. Fantastic. Catapulting up 78 spots to number 5 is Paladins of the West Kingdom, in which players must gather workers from the city to defend against enemies, build fortifications, and spread faith throughout the land. Fortunately, you are not alone as you partake in these obstacles. In his great wisdom, the king, not the same king from Everdells, but a different king, has sent his finest knights to help aid in your efforts. So, you know what you should do now? Is ready your horses and sharpen your swords, because the Paladins are approaching, and they're demanding alloy. Each round, players will enlist the help of a specific Paladin and gather workers to carry out tasks. As the game progresses, players will slowly increase their faith, strength, and their influence. Not only will these affect their final score, but they will also determine the significance of their actions. After 7 rounds, scores are tabulated, and the most pious architect of the kingdom, with the most Paladin power, wins. Holding its position at number 4 this month is Gloom Haven by Cephalofair Games. Now, on October 17th, an article was posted on the Cephalofair website announcing a currently untitled new game set in the Gloom Haven universe. This is going to be a standalone game that takes place before the events of Gloom Haven and includes 4 new characters, which I will try my best to pronounce now for you. The Valrath Red Guard, who is a tank specializing in crowd control, the Inox Hatchet, focusing on delivering ranged damage, a human Void Warden, who is equipped for support and mind control, and here we go, the Quattral Demolitionist, which excels at melee damage and obstacle manipulation and pronouncing strange words. Now, this new game will contain 24 scenarios in its campaign and will also be compatible with the original version of Gloom Haven, which, if I recall, I mentioned comes in this month and number 4. Re-emerging on the countdown by clawing up 14 spots, number 3 this month is Nemesis by Awaken Realms, a 1-to-5 player survival sci-fi game where players are woken up from hibernation as a crew of a long-dormant voyaging spaceship. And that is because the emergency procedure states that there's a critical system failure and the spaceship can't continue on its current course. So the goal is that the crew must now find what is causing this failure and fix the situation to safely return back to Earth. However, there is, of course, a problem, that problem being that one crew member is dead due to being forcibly yanked from his hibernation chamber. That'll do it. Nemesis is a semi-partially, mostly, but almost certainly not quite all the way cooperative game combined with bluffing, backstabbing, and other elements of science fiction survival and horror to create a truly terrifying experience, which sometimes is even more difficult to convey on camera, apparently. Sure. Landing 1 spot higher at number 2 this month is Wingspan, designed by Elizabeth Hargrave and published by Stonemaier Games. Wingspan is a competitive, medium-weight, card-driven engine-building game in which you and your fellow players are bird enthusiasts, such as researchers, bird watchers, ornithologists, and collectors, all seeking to discover and attract the best birds to your network of wildlife preserves. Wingspan was recently featured in an NPR news story as it is the best-selling board game of 2019 so far, with over 120,000 copies sold. Now, I'm going to add a link to this news segment in the comments below, which you can go and listen to if you'd like. The story, while short, is actually pretty interesting, including perspectives from both inside and outside the tabletop industry. Here's something I'm doing this time. Before we get to the game at the top spot, let's go and take a quick look at the 5 games that left the top 10 this month in a new segment that I'm calling a quick look at the games that left the top 10 this month. First up is Arkham Horror the card game, which was at number 8 and ends this month at number 12. Then there's Root by Leader Games, which dropped from number 7 to 14. The Seventh Continent by Serious Pulp moved from number 9 down to 21, followed by Barrage by Cranial Creations, which dropped from number 6 to 24, and finally Black Angel by Pearl Games, which was in spot number 2, but ends this month at number 19. But you know, even with all these games cycling in and out of the countdown this month, it all wasn't enough to displace the game that remains at number 1 for another month in a row, Tapestry by Stonemaier Games. Tapestry is a 2-hour civilization game for 1 to 5 players designed by Jamie Stegmaier. In the game, players will compete to create the civilization with the most storied history, starting at the beginning of humankind and reaching off into the future. The paths that they choose along the way will vary greatly from real-world events or people, making each civilization unique. And in Tapestry, players make advancements on 4 different tracks: a science one, a technology one, an exploration one, and of course, a military one. A civilization can focus on a specific track, or take a more balanced approach. But along the way, no matter which approach you take, players will also need to improve their income, build their capital city, leverage asymmetric abilities, earn victory points, and gain tapestry cards that will tell the story of their unique civilization. And there you have it, your list of the top 10 most popular board games as of November 2019. And for more board game countdowns, news, previews, and playthroughs, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of the other videos posted on this channel. Thanks! Until next time, I have been Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise and BoardGameGeek. Take care.